Hi, my name is Jacob Adams. I'm a fitness and leadership coach. I help people just like you achieve more. Have you ever found yourself between a rock and a hard place and needed faith? Come to the conclusion that it was only your faith that was going to see you through. I'm talking about you get to the point where your job is not looking the way you want it. There's maybe a family member who's in the hospital or needing prayers or going through their own divorce or separation, and you're just praying and just everything is going wrong. You don't know how you're putting rent on a credit card. You're just in a position where you don't know what your next move is going to be, and you're a believer. You're also someone that has faith regularly. You go to church, you pray, you love the Lord, you search for the Lord in your heart. You're not an agnostic, you're not an atheist. You're maybe even confused as to why you're going through what you're going through. You're in between a rock and a hard place, right? Wondering what it is that you're going to do to get out of that position, because you definitely don't want to be there by any stretch of the imagination. Recently in February, I was in a car accident. A drunk driver hits me and totals my car of 8 years or so, 9 years, and ended up having to get a new car. Then shortly thereafter, I get a call from a friend saying that he wants me to start working at one of the locations that he works at, and I start a job. And within 2 months, I'm getting a demotion. It started with a $2,000 salary plus commission, and then I get a $1,000 pay cut. I find myself in a place where I really don't feel the love anymore from this company. It's a short-lived honeymoon phase, but by the time you know it, I'm walking around this gym wondering, what am I going to do? Do I even want to be here really? And it's not because of my love of fitness. My love of fitness has been steady for years, and I'm actually liking what I see in the mirror quite a bit these days. I've done the Advocare 180 challenge, and that's changed my physique and life. I've lost 17 pounds. But even through all this, now I have myself like a $600 increase in bills with a car payment and insurance and a pay cut. And now I'm wondering, man, what am I going to do, right? And not to mention, I have stuff in my family going on that my dad needs better health. He's diabetic, and it just goes on. And sometimes I find myself being overwhelmed by these tests, these challenges. The reason Joel Osteen's on is because in my new car, he's come out on Sirius Radio, and I think that for me, the way I see things is, I have a lot of love for Joel Osteen out of nowhere, kind of just again, the radio station, his radio station sort of just has been feeding me the word every day, just about 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and I find myself gravitating to it. And every morning, even as I turn it on, it's like this perfect message from the Lord. Yesterday, one of the things that he was going on was, expect favor. And again, I'm in this position where I got a pay cut. I quit my job actually on May 15th was my last day at that last job. And yes, I did start at a new job. So it's not, and I give credit to God for that he opened up that opportunity at a gym that I find is better, more social, more friendly, more flexible with my work schedule. And it also put me in a position where the downside to the change really is that it put me in a position where, I don't have enough sometimes to pay my bills, right? And so I really have to amp it up. And I find myself praying to the Lord, because I didn't leave the other company out of like some quitter's attitude. I was really only there because of a paycheck. And I found myself, I said, I've worked so hard in fitness. I've really put my soul into becoming a great trainer and helping people achieve more, that if I'm only at this particular building 40 hours a week because of the paycheck and no other reason, because I no longer really believe in this company, then I really had to ask myself if I was in the right place. And I'm sure it wasn't even a lot that they were paying me. So I said to myself, there's really nothing holding me here except like I'm basically like on some levels being treated like a slave. And I felt that feeling, like, am I a slave? Am I a slave right now? Am I selling myself short? Do I not believe in myself? Have I sold out? And I started asking myself these questions. And here we are, 2-3 weeks later after quitting. And yeah, I'm getting some new clients at the new gym, and I feel a lot better, a lot more energy coming to the surface for that change, that transition. And yet, I found myself like, wow, this is going to require a lot of trust in the Lord and faith and work and tenacity and focus from me. So that transition from, just getting by, I think I took the job originally in faith, and then I found myself within 2 months, let me see, so it was February 20th, so March, April 20th, by 3 months from the start date, I was out. I just could not see myself staying with that company. And so that put me in a position where I really had to face my fears. And part of the good things is that, so the thing is that when I look at what I had been doing the last 3 months, my meditation had gone down. Okay, my meditation was hit or miss. Sometimes I skipped 2-3 days in a row. And for me, because I rely so much on meditation to help me anchor myself in my being, in my oneness, in my overall comfort, my flow, my zen, my connection to life, that's a big problem. And yes, I've been praying every day, and I listen to Joel Osteen and his preaching, and I meditate on the word and what is being said, and I find myself really searching for the answers and for God's movement in my life. And I think He is moving. I give Him full credit for that. And I think the last break, the last little push, you could say, to grow to that next level where I can one day support a family and have enough to just easily pay my bills and not be, in these transitions where it's like, sometimes you're up, sometimes you're down, sometimes you're up, sometimes you're down. But living in a world, tapping into that world of abundance that sometimes I've been in and sometimes I fall out of, and this is a confession of sorts where it's like, what do you do in these moments? And for me, it's having even more faith. That's really the best I could come up with, because I've done things like, invested well in companies where I've made a decent income. I've had my up days. So it's not like I'm just always been in the red or always been in these positions where I'm just always praying. I've done some really good things. And when I look at my career and what I've done, I'm very proud of what I've done. I'm simply saying, I feel like I'm going through a storm. Yet again, I'm beginning to think that we just got to get used to the storms of life on some level and weather them well and prepare for them better and learn from them when we go through them, because let them teach us something about being human and the wisdom of discipline. And I think that's that's coming with age and time and going through several of these dramatic challenges. And so as I make this video, I'm here yet on another dramatic challenge. What's going to happen now? How is my company going to expand now? After quitting, after getting that pay cut, I think I was pushed into thinking what to do next. I got into cryptocurrency. Some of you have seen in some of my videos. So that's something that was on my back burner that moved to the forefront. I found myself getting certified with another certification for training and becoming a yet even more proficient trainer. I doubled down, you could say. So I'm doubling down on the things that I think are good for me and I've done right. YouTube I wasn't doing when I was working with the other company, because I was working sometimes 50, 60 hours plus working out, training clients. And so again, my YouTube suffered, so now I'm coming back onto YouTube, right? And so in many ways, the challenge is pushing me into doing what I know is ultimately my best self. And so, and I'm walking that path with faith. I'm walking down that path with faith and listening to the messages of Joel Osteen or my mentors or Jordan Peterson, or thinking of the notes I've done, like refocusing, having a championship mindset, turning to all the lessons that I've read through the books, through the mentors, through the years, and trusting myself and meditating. And if you said to myself, Jacob, which of those is most important? I'd say, look, they're all super important to me. And yet faith is the one element, the one push, the one primordial essence, the one energy in our being that cannot be faked. And it's this calling to the Lord. And today I want to go over as to how to have faith in the hard times, when you're going broke, when you feel like you've pretty much exhausted every business move you can, when you've taken the classes, when you've done everything right, and you still say, well, gee, it's gotta be because the Lord is doing something to move me in another direction, trying to move me along in this other direction. And believe it or not, it's funny, the lecture, the sermon that Joel Osteen is giving right behind me it's labeled, it's a setup. And so in many ways, again, you can understand hearing this message. I didn't know I was going to put this video behind me, but even the fact that it's on there readily to go, I was like, wow, that's what it feels like. It feels like this is a setup, because, in my heart, I don't think I've ever been so connected to the Lord, so willing to submit so much of my will and being to the Lord. And yet to be going through these challenges right now, it feels intense. It feels pretty intense. Like I said, I just come back from Advocare, Success School, and then a day later, I was on fire, a day eating great, praying, meditating, having a lot of discipline. I'd just done self-authoring from Jordan Peterson in November. So, I was pretty zoned in. My championship mindset was zoned in. And then I'm in a car accident. It wasn't my fault. Drunk driver hit me. The guy's still in trouble, And, you wonder what is going on here? What is the Lord looking to show me or teach me? And the biggest lesson through it all is that life is so limited that we have to use our days with conviction, that we have to use every moment to do our best work and not just sell out, And that's why I quit the other job, because I felt, gee, I'm just sort of selling out here. Like, I don't even believe in this. And I was told by the Lord, and the lesson I learned, if you look at one of my videos, it was to use every day to the best and say what's in your heart. And I did that. And then I'm like, okay, well, now I need to make up that income, because I need to pay bills, right? I need to pay rent. I need to keep the groceries coming. I need to expand my company. And, it's like we have no choice but to play to our biggest self, to our biggest version of ourselves, without fear, without reservation, if we really want to achieve something. And that's where I'm at. So, have I found the answer? I can't say that I have found the answer for you. For me, that's the answer, is faith. And it can only be shown to the Lord, and the Lord has to do the rest. It's not like I can work out the biceps and look, those are my results. This is coming still. I'm in the middle of the storm right now. So I can't tell you that this is the solution as much as it's been the solution in the past. And here I am today. If you think about how things were in the past and what it is that people believed in the past about faith, I think in the past people considered faith something old school and archaic. And today, we as modern entrepreneurs, people that are here, just civilized people that want to get the most out of life, whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you're a mother, whether you're an artist, really, I believe that faith is the ultimate element to help us push through and trust that not only the world will accept what we are, but reward us for giving to it. Okay, so it's a big leap there. Okay, and so as of now, as of the making of this video, I don't think that all my life is solved just because I have faith. I do think that there's a certain level of peace, that is a certain level of intrigue, a certain level of, dancing with all of the elements, like music, where it's like, I'm making this video. Am I going to watch the basketball game today? Will enough people see this video that it makes an impact? What's going to happen at work tomorrow? I was offered, Joel Osteen said, expect favor. Today, I was offered to teach a kids camp for fitness. You see what I'm getting at, where the elements are coming, there's movement occurring. So it's not, I can't tell you like, oh yeah, like I had faith for a week and all my life is solved. I've had faith for all this time. All I'm telling you is that even through that, the storm comes, and I think we're tempted on some level to throw faith out the window. And I know some of my friends, for example, they're looking for soulmates or something, and they're like, I'm so angry at God. I'm so angry that God hasn't helped me find the right soulmate. Does that make sense? We can sometimes be tempted to even get mad at God. So think about these things that I'm sharing with you, and maybe you find yourself also working through the challenges of faith and having it or not having it, or maybe when the shit gets real. I think that's when our faith really shows. I think that's when our faith really shows, because we really have to prevent ourselves from retracting and saying, oh, well, let me keep the job that I hate because I just think it's safer, when we feel like, well, maybe God would help us if we move with trusting the Lord. As an example, let's just say you're in a position where you hate your job and you really want to quit, and you're only there for the check and it's miserable. You really just do not want to be there, and you have faith that there's something better for you, that you could do better. You have a belief in yourself, and you may be wanting to see someone that's done that. And I'm that person, and yeah, I interviewed for a job before I left or anything. I'm not trying to say to do something irrational or crazy, but maybe you need to start that interview process already. Maybe you need to, really maybe ask for the raise and say, look, if I don't get a raise, I'm going to quit because I'm not happy with this paycheck or something. And you need to walk in faith and do your best to get that raise. I'm just saying, there's so many things. You need to pray for your family member. You need to pray really hard for that family member, because, they themselves may not be ready to pray for themselves. I know that was one of the messages that Joel Osteen said in his sermon, is to pray hard for people that you may need your help. And so all these things, these reasons here, I'm not like some Joel Osteen fanboy that just, everything he says is perfect, as much as he said things in the past, in this few